All right, let's dive right into one of the most incredible turning points in the entire Old Testament. We're talking about the first 5 chapters of the book of Joshua. This is where a nation standing right on the edge of its destiny gets ready for war. Just try to picture this for a second. For 40 long years, they've been wandering in the desert. Their larger-than-life leader Moses is now gone. An entire generation that left Egypt has passed away. And now millions of people are camped out, staring across the Jordan River at the land they were promised, a land that's filled with giant fortified cities and warrior armies. You can just feel the tension, right? The weight of an entire nation's future is suddenly on the shoulders of one man, Joshua. So what happens when that moment of truth, 40 years in the making, finally arrives? Well, let's get into it. So we're going to walk through this incredible story exactly as it unfolds, chapter by chapter. We'll start with God's call to Joshua, then follow a spy mission into Jericho. After that, we'll see a miraculous river crossing, the building of a memorial, and finally, some crucial spiritual prep before the first battle.
Okay, so it all kicks off with this massive divine handover. Moses is gone, and God speaks directly to his successor. This is Joshua's moment, and it's a big one.
Now, these first words from God to Joshua, wow, they're more than just a pep talk. They are an absolutely foundational promise. God is telling him, hey, you know that power that was with Moses, the presence that parted the Red Sea and guided you for 40 years, that exact same presence is with you now. The human leader has changed, but their God hasn't. And along with that incredible promise comes a 3-part command. You could almost call it God's formula for success. Number 1, be strong and courageous. And get this, he repeats that 3 times in this chapter alone. It's obviously important. Number 2, obey the law. And number 3, don't just read it, meditate on it day and night. This is the bedrock for everything that's about to happen. So if you boil chapter 1 down, the big takeaway is this. Real leadership is built on God's presence. And success? It comes from courage and just locking in on his word. We also see how vital unity is when all the tribes get behind Joshua, promising to follow him just like they did Moses. Now, with God's command still ringing in his ears, Joshua doesn't just charge forward. No, he makes a really smart, strategic move. He sends 2 spies on a secret mission to check out their first target, the city of Jericho, which was basically a fortress. So the spies sneak into the city, and almost immediately, they're in hot water. Their lives end up in the hands of the most unlikely person you could imagine, a woman named Rahab, whose house is literally built into the thick city wall. When the king's guards show up looking for the spies, Rahab hides them on her roof and completely misdirects the soldiers. And then she says this. This is an absolutely astonishing statement. She, a Canaanite, declares her faith in Israel's God, all because she's heard the stories of his power, like how he parted the Red Sea. This moment just proves that God's plans aren't limited by our expectations. And Rahab's faith isn't just talk. She puts her life on the line. In return, the spies swear an oath to save her and her family. And the sign? A single scarlet cord hanging from her window, a powerful symbol of her deliverance. The spies make it back, and their report is a game changer. The people of Canaan are terrified. With that news, the time has come. The entire nation of Israel marches to the very edge of the promised land, but there is one huge obstacle right in their path. And we're not talking about some gentle stream you can just wade across. The scripture is very specific here. The Jordan was at flood stage, overflowing its banks. It's a raging, muddy, impassable torrent of water. For millions of people with their livestock and belongings, crossing is just humanly impossible. It's the ultimate test of faith right at the finish line. So, what's the plan? You're not going to believe it. The priests are ordered to pick up the Ark of the Covenant, which is the very symbol of God's presence, remember, and just start walking straight into the flood. And the second their feet touch the water's edge, bam, the river just stops. It piles up in a heap miles upstream, and the entire nation walks across on dry ground. Incredible. Now, a miracle of that size, you just can't let it be forgotten. God knows that human memory is short. So as soon as everyone is safely on the other side, he gives Joshua a very clear command to make sure that future generations will know exactly what happened here. And the command is really specific. 12 men, one representing each of the 12 tribes of Israel, are told to go back into the middle of the riverbed, where the priests are still standing with the ark, by the way, and each man has to pick up one large stone. They carry these 12 stones out of the river, and set them up as a memorial at their very first campsite in the Promised Land. And God basically tells them, look, I know that one day your children and your grandchildren are going to see this weird pile of rocks and ask. And the answer they're supposed to give? Oh, it's powerful. These stones are meant to be a permanent, physical object lesson. They're there to teach every new generation that God's power is real and that the same God who split the Red Sea for their grandparents just split the Jordan River for them. It's a testament for the whole world to see. So they've made it. They are now in enemy territory. And we learn that the local kings are completely paralyzed with fear. But before a single arrow flies, Israel's first order of business isn't sharpening swords or making battle plans. No, it's spiritual renewal. And in an instant, everything changes. The day after they eat from the crops of Canaan, for the very first time, the manna, that supernatural bread that had fed them for 40 years, it stops. Just like that. God's provision is now found in the land he promised them. The long season of wandering is officially over. Before they move any other inch, two critical things happen. First, every man who is born in the desert is circumcised, which reestablishes the physical sign of their covenant with God. And second, they celebrate the Passover. They are basically hitting a spiritual reset button, rededicating themselves to God before they go to claim his inheritance for them. So the nation is spiritually ready. And Joshua, ever the general, goes out to survey Jericho. And then out of nowhere, a man is standing right in front of him, holding a drawn sword. Joshua asks the only question a military leader would ask. Are you on our side or their side? The man's answer is absolutely stunning. It just reframes the entire story. He says, neither. I have come as the commander of the army of the Lord. This completely flips the script. The real question isn't whether God is on Joshua's side, but whether Joshua is on God's side. And Joshua gets it immediately. He falls on his face and worships. The true commander has just arrived on the scene. So, from that divine commission to the miraculous crossing and this incredibly humbling encounter, these first 5 chapters set the stage perfectly. They teach us that stepping into what God has for us requires real courage, total obedience, and, most importantly, remembering who is actually in charge. The question isn't whether God is on our side, but whether we are on his. So, as you think about your own life, what's the Jordan River standing in front of you?